Welcome everyone. That time of year again. Certainly excited to get rolling and get working. You know, summers are always fun to spend time with your family. I mean, my daughter Olivia, she was in travel volleyball. My son Corbin's been able to get acclimated to Starkville and travel baseball, and now he's playing. Actually, he's got practice today at Starkville High School, so he's acclimated. And my wife has got the great task of unpacking a lot of boxes as we moved in, and that seems like a pretty good chore from what I've seen. So she's probably got the hardest job. But anyway, it's that time. It's here. We're excited to get rolling. I've been very pleased with the way the guys have worked this summer to continue to improve themselves, both in the weight room and their knowledge of our system and what we got to do. You know, now really comes a time in training camp. You know, the first phase of it is to evaluate some of the new players that we've been able to add to our roster, to continue to develop and work on the habitual traits you need to play at the level we want to play at. So we'll certainly continue to do that. And then we're always going to focus on doing the things that we need to do to play to our identity and the way we want to play, which we always talk about playing fast, physical, and aggressive. And, you know, it really starts today. And we're certainly excited to get on the field and get to work and continue to develop and create the habits we need to be successful. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions.
We'll get a mic to you, and can you please state your name and affiliation so Todd can get familiar with you? Thank you.
Hey Todd, Robbie Falk from Bulldogs 247. How have you felt like you and Coach Mullen have meshed over the last few months? He mentioned that he really liked your fiery nature, but also how you build relationships with players and kind of nurture them a little bit. How do you feel like you guys have meshed?
I think we've meshed great. It's awesome. I really respect. I mean, you know, Coach Mullen is the CEO of the organization. I mean, if you look at what he's built here and the things that he's established here, it's really unprecedented. So I'm just happy to be a part of his staff and be a part of what he wants to accomplish here. You know, I really enjoy coaching and teaching and being able to be around players that have a vision to be the best that they can be. I like that. I want guys that want to be the best at their position. I want guys that want to play in pro football. I want to be around guys that want to be the best defense in the SEC and do those kind of things. In saying that, I think, you know, it's important to get to know the whole person. You know, not only know the player on the field, but also get to know the player off the field. I think that helps you in coaching, learning how guys learn, learning what guys are going through. Because, you know, if guys believe in you and what you're doing and know that you got your best interest at heart, they're going to play. And once you get that relationship, it's a belief, it's a powerful tool. And guys can continue to push through maybe barriers that they've never been before. You know, the hardest thing sometimes is having to go through a barrier or an unknown because you've never been there. But if you have the belief and confidence of people around you, you'll take that step and try to get there.
You signed several junior college players in December, and Montez and Chauncey and Jonathan have all been in the Power 5 school before. Mm-hmm. What have you seen with their transition, and what did you how those guys handled that transition this spring and this offseason?
Those guys have worked really hard in our program, along with our other players. I think that anytime you get guys in that transition mode of coming back and being a part of our system, coming from the JUCO level, there's a little bit of a humbling experience sometimes, being appreciative of what they have now, what they're around, because the facilities here are really as good as anywhere. The way these guys, you know, from a nutrition standpoint, are able to eat and feed themselves, the way they're able to get in the weight room and develop themselves. So I think that when you take all of that in and be able to play in a conference like this, I think all that excites them. And from that standpoint, I think it's something that they are excited to do. As far as being here, they really mesh with our players here very well. They've worked hard and they've adapted to the things that we've asked them to do. They're really first-year players like all of our players. So I fully expect those guys to be an important part of what we're going to do, and we'll continue to mesh those with the other guys that we got and put the best 11 players out there.
Brett Hudson at Dispatch. You've got a lot of guys on the defensive line, be it transfers or redshirts, that haven't played here yet. What's your process for getting them ready for week 1 and week 2 where they can contribute to depth?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, I think you have to play a lot of guys up front. You know, if you're going to win a lot of ball games, that means you're winning. You're leading in the fourth quarter, and generally, if you're leading in the fourth quarter, the other team's going to throw the ball, and it takes a lot of energy to rush the passer. So I think it's real critical that you keep guys fresh throughout the game to allow them to play at maximum effort at the end of the game. So we're going to play a lot of players up front and rotate guys in. And as you do that, I think it's a way to ease guys that maybe haven't played much before into the game. They kind of get a feel, get a little taste, get out, get a little feel, come on back. So we'll just put those guys into a rotation and try to play as many players as we can to keep guys fresh, because I do believe you got to play a lot of guys up front. And we'll certainly take the young guys or the guys that have shown the ability to perform for us, and we'll find ways to get them in the game.
Hey Todd, Todd Greer from WJTV in Jackson. I don't know how much you've gotten to watch this unit from last year from tape, but you're just one that really struggled. When you look back at it, what's the first thing that kind of jumps out as an area for improvement to make a jump this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for us is to move forward and work on and focus on this year. And you know, the first thing we want to do is we want to be hard to run on. We want to find ways to stop the run and force guys to be one-dimensional. And then really after that is how can we make the quarterback play bad? I mean, really I can talk about a lot of things about, you know, keeping points down, creating turnovers, and all that stuff matters. But at the end of the day, it really gets down to don't let them run the ball, and then find ways to make the quarterback play bad. And part of that is getting hits on the quarterback to make him not feel as comfortable in the pocket. So that's really been our focus, is how can we, you know, improve and create the habits needed to play at the level we want to. And we've really worked hard to reestablish the identity here of what we want to accomplish. And I think that's where we're moving. We're working on the things that we can control now, which is the upcoming schedule, and working to play to the identity that we want to play at.
Hey Todd, Will Simon from the Clarion Ledger. Chauncey Rivers, what's your take on him, and what does he bring to this team this year?
Yeah, well, Chauncey is a guy that he's got size and quickness. He's got twitch off the ball. He's got some suddenness, which can help you create tackle for lost plays, can help you in the rush. You know, he's a guy that has played in this league before, so he kind of understands what it's all about. You know, I've been really impressed with his work ethic. I've been impressed with his ability to adapt and play multiple positions for us. And I certainly, you know, expect him to be a part of our success and our rotation and what we do. And I'm certainly glad he's here. And, you know, look forward to continuing to work with him in training camp to continue to develop that skill set. But he'll be a guy that will be a major part of what we do.
Stone Smith with Commercial Dispatch. You know, in offense, you often hear colleges talk about building a team around player talents and what they do well. Is that the same principle applying on defense? Yeah. And if so, who are the players that you want to highlight or showcase?
Well, we want to showcase all 11 guys if we can. I think each year your defense changes relative to the talent you have and the guys you have, because every player is going to have assets, things that they do well, and they're going to have things that maybe they're not as comfortable doing. And I think that as a coach, what you have to do is be able to get the combination of players, find out the things that they do well, and mesh that as a unit. And that's certainly what we're working on right now. Obviously, when you look at our defense, you know, when I look at a guy like Jeffrey Simmons up front, I think a guy that's made tremendous strides here in everything that we ask him to do academically as well as athletically. Certainly see him as a guy that can showcase his talents for us and be aggressive. Corey Thomas is another guy that I think up front can make some things happen. When you get to the edges, you know, Fletcher, Adams, and Chauncey that we just talked about, been real pleased with those guys. You know, Gary Green's a guy that's really moved positions for us and is now more of an outside backer. You know, Montez Sweat. I mean, there's a lot of guys. Then you go to the inside, you got Leo and Dez. Certainly excited about those guys. And then when you get to the back end, you know, you start talking about, you know, Mark and Brandon and Abrams and JT. I mean, we have guys. I mean, you know, so I wouldn't say that we're going to showcase. It's really based on who you're playing from the standpoint of, you know, the things you got to do is, like I said, stop the run and find ways to hit the quarterback and affect him. But you've also got to take away what the other team does best. So at some point it might be more secondary driven, and other times it might be more front driven. The biggest thing is putting your best 11 players out there playing as a team, and, you know, finding ways to put them in position to make plays. And I do think you want to be an aggressive defense, an attacking defense from the standpoint of we want to make the offense react to us as opposed to us react to them, and that'll be our mindset as we, you know, start the season off.
Danny Smith, Scarlet Daily News. Just talk about, I know probably your last answer is going to be a lot of that, but talk about freshmen coming in. How quickly do you want to see them evolve, get out on the field, and what's your philosophy on newcomers?
Yeah, I think the first thing is I've always broken the training camp into 3 segments. The first segment is to continue to develop our techniques and our craft and evaluate the incoming guys. And as you evaluate the new guys that come into your system, you try to say, all right, what combination of players gives us the best chance to win? And how do these new players fit into that? So that's the first part of that. The middle portion of training camp is to work on your season, because, you know, there's a lot of different offenses that you face throughout the season, and I don't like to come into Monday and we've never been exposed to that. So we've already done a study on the teams that we're going to play this year, and if there's anything that we need to work on that may be a little different, we're going to work that on that second phase of training camp. And then the last phase is to work on your first opponent, because you want to start off to a good start. So as we work on those 3 phases, we're going to look at our incoming freshmen and just see how they fit in. You know, obviously Willie Gay is a guy that we're going to take a major look at starting out to see, you know, what he can do. But there are other guys too, and I think the biggest thing is to get those guys off day one to a fresh start and just evaluate what they can do, and then see, based upon their skill set and where they are right now, how they can help us. And if they can help us, I say you play them. Because if it makes our team better, it's going to make us better throughout the year, because you never know what's going to happen later in the year. So if a guy's available and can play, we're going to work the plan.
Andy Lee, WTVA TV. The quarterback is the second most protected species in America behind the bald eagle. How do you, as a coach, straddle that fine line in encouraging quarterback rushes, quarterback hits, but teach them to not pick up costly penalties?
Yeah, well, first of all, there's a rule as far as you can't hit the quarterback late. So obviously you get the 1 step and that's it. And then we always talk to them about a strike zone with the quarterback. It's really the way we tackle. And really you want to stay away from the head area, because that's when you start getting the targeting calls and things like that. So, you know, we're gonna be aggressive, but we understand the rules, and we'll play to the rules and work to obviously be legal in what we're doing from that standpoint. So, you know, it's a fine line, but we're going to be aggressive in what we do. We're going to teach our guys the rules of understanding the target zone on the player, and what constitutes a late hit, and how you can go about that. And it is important that they understand that, because obviously those are things that they have one person on the field looking at as the play develops, particularly a pass play. So, you know, it's just something that you educate your guys on like anything else.
Hey Coach, Ashley Shalmy, WBT in Jackson. Just talking about the freshmen that are coming in, what have you seen from or talked to with Aaron Odom?
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Aaron. Aaron's a guy that has come in and has worked hard in our strength conditioning phase to develop himself. He's starting to change his body a little bit, which is really normal for, you know, guys as they enter the college realm, because now you're getting you know, a full-time strength conditioning department, you get a nutrition department, and guys start to change their bodies a little bit. I've seen a change in that. He's improved his conditioning since he's been here, and done a good job of learning our system. You know, yesterday we were able to meet and kind of see where he was with some things, you know, for our day 1 installation, and he was on top of it. So I was really, you know, pleased with that. I mean, I think the key thing will be now is how can we take that to the field, and then how can he continue to progress. And certainly with his skill set as far as a pass rusher and some twitch and his athletic ability, he's a guy that we'll take a hard look at to see where he fits in the combination of players that we have and how he can help us. But I've been real pleased with him so far.
Anything else? All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.